Serious. Tattoo artists. What was your worst mistake and how did the client react? Removed. So I didn't mess up, but I had a client scare me. I was tattooing his sister's name on him. She passed away. Gabriella. With one L in it. Past the point of no return, he asks me, "There's two L's. Right. I think I had a heart attack." And he started laughing. He thought it was hilarious. I died a little and pretended to laugh. Attention. Serious. Tag notice. 1. Jokes, puns, and off-topic comments are not permitted in any comment. Parent or child. 2. Parent comments that aren't from the target group will be removed, along with their child replies. 3. Report comments that violate these rules. Posts that have few relevant answers within the first hour. And posts that are not appropriate for the serious tag will be removed. Consider doing an AMA request instead. Thanks for your cooperation and enjoy the discussion. I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit if you have any questions or concerns. I had a client who decided he wanted lettering on his forearms. Sayings in Greek and Hebrew. He doesn't speak either language. But he had one of his friends double-check the spelling before he sent the references to me. Came in. We did the tattoos. Definitely beware when you're getting tattoos in a language you and your artist don't speak. When I was but a wee baby piercer, I worked at the biggest shop in my city which had 14 artists and 2 piercers. It was the peak of the tramp stamp trend. I'm still so sad that was the nickname. Ass Antlers was so much better. So when a super tiny 18-year-old black woman came in and wanted her name on her lower back with a flower, it was just normal. An older white male tattoo artist took her to pick a font. It took a minute, even though back then everyone went with Edwardian. But they came out. I had her do paperwork and he got the drawing finished. She okayed the design. She okayed the stencil. She sat for the tattoo. Loved it, tipped him and left. 2 hours later she called back sobbing saying we ruined her life. The counter girl told her to come in and we would fix whatever was wrong. Tattoo comes back with her 2 gigantic, angry AF friends who are ready to freak out. We finally see the tattoo. Her name was Whitney. The N got left out in the font process. So huge across her lower back it said, Whitey. It was covered for free and with many apologies with 3 giant purple roses. The tattoo artist was so fucked up over that he didn't come in for a week. It was an honest mistake. But it was the worst fucking spelling error I've seen. Removed. A few years ago I was tattooing a client who had apparently lost a bet. His buddies were allowed to tattoo something behind his shoulder as long as it wasn't racist or offensive. Turns out the guy drew up a design of a leprechaun throwing up on a book. Sure. Why not? Everyone was sober and they were paying pounds up front. Easy work. The drawing was really simple and the shading was easier than I thought it'd be. Turns out everyone liked it. Except the guy with the tattoo of a leprechaun throwing up on a book. He picked at the scab, trying to get rid of it. Completely took it from bad to worse. Comes in about 10 days later, demanding a refund of money he didn't pay or the studio. Not me. Cover it up. Nope. Management said you signed for it in your right mind and then damaged it yourself. Personally, I was yelled at and told never tattoo anyone like that. It only works in television series or film. Did I make a mistake? Yes and no. The lesson here is don't get involved in others' drama when permanent body marking are involved. My only spelling mistake ever was in Italian. Girl wants a phrase in Italian. She writes it down no less than 5x on a paper. I tell her to make sure it is correct. I don't speak Italian. She insists it is correct. I draw up some nice script. Tattoo it with no issues. Bandage. Pay and she leaves. She comes back in hysterical and tells me I spelled it wrong. I hadn't thrown out the paper. I spelled it exactly how she spelled it. I asked what she wanted to do. And she decided. No one I know speaks Italian. That was about 15 years ago. I often wonder if she ended up getting it covered up. Worked as a piercer in a shop a decade ago. A guy came in and wanted Murphy's Law. The artist freehanded a design on him. He green-lit it after watching in the mirror and they did a beautiful piece with a banner saying, Murphy's Law. Seemed fitting. The guy loved the fact that his one messed up tattoo was the Murphy's Law one. Edit. Some people have pointed out the lack of apostrophe in the spelling. This took place in a small Swedish town and 100% there was no apostrophe. Swedes are generally decent at English. but apostrophe to indicate ownership is probably the part we suck most at. Apprentice here. Nothing major but bad karma on one tattoo from the get-go that absolutely floored my confidence for a bit. Only recently did my first ever small tattoo on a client. Had to do a small range of flash ideas that I felt comfortable with. Had my mentor. Who, judging by some other stories, I'm very lucky to have. He's a sound dude. Discuss with me beforehand my needle choices. Placement technique. Usual bits and was ready to go. Every felt ready. Midway through. My machine goes. It's brand new. My only one. Managed to sort it without much fuss. In doing so, in my panic put the wrong needle size in the machine when it came to replacing it with a fresh one. Botched a line when I realize almost immediately the size difference. Change again. Nerves are shot. Back at it. Brand new foot pedal breaks. Replace it with an old one from my mentor. It breaks too. Power pack dies. That was brand new too. Panic. Spill my ink. Practically had a meltdown in my brain about what has happened. Carried on with another artist's equipment. Apologizing as calmly as I can to my client. Mentor calmed my nerves and I ended up pulling it out the bag and doing a job I was happy with somehow, but most importantly, the client loved it. Anyway, not a crazy bad story, but as an apprentice who's also a fairly confident dude, I have never felt so absolutely floored in my life. Tattooing someone is monumentally stressful when all doesn't go to plan. I can't wait to do more and progress. But fuck me, what a time for shit to happen. My mentor helped me sort all my gear afterward and was super cool. Sat with me and said something like, well, of all the times and all the things that could have gone wrong, that was the absolutely perfect one for them. Nerve-wracking stuff. Edit. To everyone that's replied and messaged. Can't thank you enough for putting me at ease. We're currently back locked down in UK, so I'm using this time to finesse some artwork. Practice and stuff, but confidence was still a little shot, so this has helped quite a lot. It's a dream come true, so I appreciate the lot of you undoubtedly sexy people. I'd buy you all a box of fresh donuts if A, I had the money, and B, it wasn't illegal in the UK currently to see other people. Plus a whole ton of other variables. But you get my drift. I was working at a place when a guy came in for a full back piece of 3 different cars. It took like 4 visits to finish, and each visit he'd look at it and say it looks awesome, and then he would take off. On the last visit, they call me in to look at it to show me how awesome it turned out. Well, all the steering wheels were on the wrong side, and the reason no one caught it was because the dude was looking in a mirror to check his progress so they looked correct. I'm pretty sure the guy was super chill about it when they offered a bunch of free work and they fixed it in another session. I was a receptionist at a tattoo shop. One of the artists misspelled neighborhood on this guy's neck. He spelled it neighborhood, leaving out the first H. Neighborhood was the guy's nickname. It was a pretty large, elaborate tattoo, so there was no fixing it. I don't think I have ever cringed so hard in my life. The guy was surprisingly really cool about it. He did see the drawing and approved it before it was tattooed on. He ended up making the artist tattoo a H on his palm, so if anyone gave him shit about the misspelling, he could smack that person with the missing H. I tattooed Philippines 4:13 instead of Philippians chapter 4:13 on a girl one time. Fortunately, I was able to fix it though. Removed. I gave a guy a tattoo in prison of his girlfriend's name on his arm. I knew him on the street and his girl, and knew it was going nowhere, and insisted he change his mind. He didn't, so I made a bet with him that shit was gonna go belly up within 6 months. When we got out of segregation and back onto the yard, a few weeks passed at most, and I can see him having a bad conversation on the phone. He called me over to his cell and offered me up a huge fucking sack of commissary without a word. I didn't take it. Figured he needed it more than me. Still feel like shit to this day. Edit. I thought I was gonna get dragged, but you motherfuckers are supportive as hell. Living out here is fucking hard. And every time I go to bed I dream about being inside again. I saw a psychologist like 2 weeks ago and she said I am showing classic signs of PTSD and institutionalization. I keep putting off my follow-up appointments, but I'm gonna reschedule. Thank you all. My ex did a large scarification on the client's abdomen. The client had brought in a piece of paper with the stylized word perseverance. I was invited in midway to see the progress and had to tap my ex on the shoulder for a spelling lesson.